Hello, everyone, and welcome to a webinar where we're going to talk about how to successfully complete your social enterprise business pitch. First of all, my name is Lori Hairston, and I am the Executive Director for Washington DECA, and thank you so much for putting out that extra effort and engaging in our first business pitch competition. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation and provide you with some resources and obviously some contact information so that you can be prepared for the pitch competition before you get to Fall Leadership Conference. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen with you. And so here we go. All righty, let's launch right in. So the objectives of this meeting are to review the guidelines that you have already have, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to go through those instructions. And we're also going to take a look at that business canvas and give you some examples of some completed canvas. I'm going to share some resources and some ideas with you for your social enterprise. We're going to review the rubric in depth so that you know exactly what it is that you're going to be scored on. And we're going to take a look at the schedule while at Fall Leadership Conference so that you know what time to expect and what to expect from that whole experience. And obviously we're not going to answer any questions because this is a taped webinar, but you will have an opportunity to contact me if you have questions, and always there is your advisor that you can contact with questions. So here's a copy of the outline. If you have not seen this, it is posted on teachdeca.org and on the FLC website that you can pull it off of there yourself and print it. But let's go ahead and follow along while I point out some key components of the instructions. The first thing I want to remind you of is for this particular business pitch competition, it is solely based on a social or environmental problem in your own community. So when you're looking at your community, you know what the particular needs are. It might be homelessness. It might be environmental, something affecting your environment, like recycling. It might be, something social service wise that you really have a need. But it's up to you to identify those, and this is really meant to be your own community. So if you live in Spokane, take a look at the Spokane area, or up in Lake Stevens or down in the Vancouver area. Really take a look at your own community and see what those needs are and see what the trends are there. And it's also an opportunity for you to be able to take this pitch and develop it into a bigger business plan for, competition, either that innovations plan, the startup business plan, or one of the bigger 20-page business plans. So you can enter with a team of 1 to 3 people. However big your team is, there's 2 scholarships. The first place scholarship is $1,500. So if you're doing it individually, you would get that scholarship yourself. Otherwise, you would split it with your teammates. And the second place is $750. Now that money goes directly to help you pay for DECA costs. So for example, if you were going to attend state, all of your registration and your housing would be paid for, and we would track that. And then if you're going to ICDC, that would also be paid for. So, and it doesn't matter what you're entered in for those particular events. And if it comes to pass that you were not able to qualify for ICDC, then you would automatically get one of those, a spot in one of the academies. So in the next section under examples of Washington social enterprises, those links, which you won't be able to copy and paste off of this, but will take you directly to some social enterprises. So some companies that are providing services to needy through their companies. So, and these are based all over the state of Washington. So I really encourage you to kind of take a look at it, and it might generate some ideas for you to what to use for your business if you haven't decided already. And the next section on how to begin. Obviously, you've already registered for the competition via the Fall Leadership Conference website, and hopefully you begin examining your community and working on your ideas. You do need to complete a social canvas. That is going to be turned in to the judges prior to your presentation. So you'll turn that in right when you get there on Monday. Practice your pitch, practice, 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 and be ready to go with Fall Leadership Conference. The process to participate, you have to attend, and we're going to go over this again, the 1-hour workshop at Fall Leadership Conference, and you have to submit your social canvas to during that workshop. You're going to complete a 10-minute pitch, and we did change, so your pitch can be a complete 10 minutes. So we did change that, and then an additional 5 minutes for questions from the judge if they happen to have them. The judge will be looking for a social enterprise plan that clearly addresses a social and or environmental problem, shows how the activities of the business will address the problem, and shows how within a reasonable time the business will pay for itself. So how you're going to become profitable, or if not profitable, how you can reinvest in your company, after a certain amount of time. And then the jobs created by a social enterprise. So if it just so happens that you are trying to, do a business where you could employ the homeless, then, that's obviously a great business. Judges will utilize a rubric, which we're going to look at, to determine the top 2 social enterprises, and awards will be announced in the general closing session. So it's that How I Built That session on Monday night that we're going to announce those 2 scholarship winners and the 2 top businesses. The top 2 teams will receive the following recognition. So those scholarships, money as outlined, press releases sent to their local newspaper, announcements on social media, and a write-up sent to DECA Inc. and hopefully included in the DECA Direct. So here's an example of a business canvas, and this is, as you can see, a social lean canvas. And in each section, you will see the title of the section and then an explanation of what goes in that section. I think you will see in the examples to follow that it'll help tie together what really goes in that particular section. Now, the one thing that you need to remember is you need to try to download this and use it in a Word format. If you can get it copied over or find one online that's a template, you'll find those on there so that you can adjust it and type it in there rather than to handwrite it in there. It would really be preferable. The other thing to remember is this is meant to be an outline format only, so not a lot of information included in this. And again, I'm going to show you an example in the slides to follow. Here are the resources that I was talking about. So the first 2, how to create a business model canvas. It's a guide, step-by-step guide on how to complete that canvas. I don't want to go through it now because this is a very short informational video. But this is about a 10-minute video that will assist you. The next one, The World is Full of Problems and How to Create Design Thinking. That's about an 8 to 9-minute video. Again, very, very helpful. From Student to Entrepreneur and Improving Your Community with Social Entrepreneurship. Those are both articles that will help kind of walk you through the process of, how do I decide on a particular business, and just to help you really with forming your ideas. So here is the first example of a social enterprise canvas, and a couple of things I want to point out. Now, some of these are going to have a little bit different categories than we have on the social canvas that we distributed, but you can adjust those as you need to. So as you can see here, key partners, key activities, you can see there's very little text in here. It's not big, long paragraphs in here. So try to keep it very clear and concise, but you want to give the judge enough information so they know what kind of a business and what your ideas are. And obviously it's in your presentation that you're really going to expand on this canvas. Now, I'm going to remind you of this again, but one thing that I do want to make sure is that we didn't include on here is I want you to make sure that you have the name of your company or product, and also the name of the team members and the school on your canvas at some point, because you'll be turning these in prior to your presentation. I want to also note on this one, look how nice and they've included color and icons to really make this stand out and really make it look interesting. And I really encourage you to use your creativity on your canvas and also on your presentation. Here's another example. Again, you can see they've used text boxes. They've also used color to bring out their key points. Again, you might want to go a little bit more and go with a little smaller font than this, but use a little bit more explanation so that you can really explain, you know, again, don't use paragraphs, but clear, concise statements are good to make sure that you're relaying your thoughts here on your canvas. Again, here's another canvas. This one is for another social enterprise canvas. You can see that this one is just strictly in black and white, but they've also included key points, done a little bit more text on there to really, I think this is about the amount of text that you want, but I really encourage you to try to put some creativity into it also. And again, here's the last example for a nonprofit business model canvas. Again, this particular example, they've kept the instructions on there that show you what goes in that section. You can do either way, but they've also used some color to highlight the answers on each of the categories on the canvas. Again, those were just some examples. If you get online, you will find hundreds and hundreds of examples of lean canvases or social canvases or business canvases. Just go ahead and Google those. The next thing I wanted to show you is the judges rubric. Again, just make sure that you're being complete. Excuse me, they will be filling in, you'll be taking it in there, so you will be completing your company name, your contestant's name, and your school on the form, and then handing it to your judges. You'll notice that on the first 8, except for one that these topics on the rubric that come specifically from that canvas. So they'll be watching for you and listening for you in your presentation to expand on that lean canvas. Excuse me, I just have to get something to drink. I've got a little tickle in my throat. So you'll see that, you know, is the problem defined clearly? Is the company's purpose and impact is clear? Those are the first 2 sections on that lean canvas. So really make sure you're going through and looking at this rubric, because this is how they're going to score you. So you want to make sure that your company's purpose and impact clear. Make sure that the problem is clearly defined and communicated. That you have a rationale for the solution is clearly defined, and how it relates to the product and service that you are going to be providing. Anyway, I could go through each one of those, but make sure you have a description of the customer segment. Early adopter is like, who is the first, you know, top priority of customer that is going to utilize your product or service. Description of the value proposition that states why your product and service is different and worth buying. So why is it unique? It's more unique than any of your other competition. Excuse me. Business idea is realistic, and the presentation provides adequate support. And that's, again, how are you expanding on your canvas, on your business canvas, and are you providing them with enough information? Your cost structure and your revenue stream. Where is your revenue coming from? Is it provided from a service that you're going to have? Is it from a product you're going to sell? Is it from sponsorship? Where is that revenue stream coming from? And what is your cost structure? Obviously, you have to understand, even though you're a nonprofit, you have expenses. You have to pay your overhead costs. You have to pay your program costs. The next ones are really just based on your professionalism and your presentation skills. So you utilized effective introduction and in conclusion, making sure that you walk into that room, you shake their hand, you introduce yourself, and then you launch into your presentation. Then again, following up with a great conclusion, asking them if they have any questions after you answer those questions. Make sure that you leave them with something and a call of action to contact you, to, you know, whatever it is that looks like to be able to move your business forward. Answered questions with expertise. Make sure that you practice that in advance. Have your friends, have your parents ask you some questions about your product or service so that you have those answers readily available, so that you can reiterate them. And then professional standards, visuals. Let's talk about visuals. You can bring in any visuals that you want. So a PowerPoint presentation that's just on your laptop is great. Copies of a prototype if you have them. Anything that you can carry in, you can bring into the judges. again, professional standards as far as your presentation technique, your use of visuals, and then your poise and your appearance. Make sure you're dressed professionally. Again, make sure that you're shaking hands and you're getting off to a great start to your business pitch. So let's walk through the schedule for FLC on Monday morning. So this conference starts on Sunday, but on Monday morning at 10 o'clock, all participants are required to be in a 10 o'clock workshop. Make sure that you check your program for the details on the room assignment for that presentation. And what we'll be walking through is the details of the competition. You are going to turn in your canvas, ask questions and turn in your canvas. They're going to take a look at your visuals to make sure that they're okay, because you'll bring those down with you, because some people will start pitching pretty close, not too long after they finish with this presentation. You're going to get your pitch time and your room location, because there are going to be a couple of different rooms that are used for the pitches, and they're going to answer any questions that you have. Pitches start at noon. This workshop will run from 10 to 11 with the ability to stay a little bit longer and ask questions. And then you can have time to go practice. Remember, you will be turning your canvas ahead of time, so make sure that you bring that. And then those pitches start at noon and finish by about 3 o'clock. So the time allotted is 20 minutes each, so 10 minutes for your pitch, 5 minutes for questions, and then 5 minutes for that judge to score. The announcement of the top 2 winners will take place in the evening of the general session, which is how I built this session. Visuals acceptable, anything you can carry in, just reiterating this again, and we'll take a look at those during the workshop and make sure that you have those visuals and they indeed can be carried in. Professionalism, please come prepared with your completed canvas and your visuals. Again, pitch time is 10 minutes, and then the ability to answer questions and from those judges. So the last thing I want to leave you with is if you have any questions, again, you can reach out to me. I do need you to, if you're watching this recording, send me an email, lori@wadeca.org, so that you can receive a copy of this presentation. On the copy of this presentation, you'll be able to click right on the links and get to those websites and get to those videos that were referenced prior to this. So anyway, I hope that you are excited about this opportunity. We're sure excited to see what types of social businesses, social enterprises that you created. And if I can be of any assistance, please let me know. Thank you.